get rid of all the games, all damn games. Pop a shot, foosball, pinball, whack-a-mole. I was like, get rid of all of them. Get rid of all of them. We don't need them. And this is what it took. I don't even know why it took this long. I was like, PS5, get rid of all of them. I was like, there ain't gonna be nothing for Kyle Murray to play. Wait, wrong team. But still, that's how it seemed like everybody else is. Look, I don't know how the hell it happened, how it got pulled off, but the Miami Dolphins did what no one of us thought they would do. Beat the Buffalo Bills ass. And I mean the whole ass. I ain't talking about the cheek or two. I was like, I'm talking about the whole circumference. I was like down into the crack. I was like, beat their ass. Look, I was like, it really seemed like a foregone conclusion. Even when they was up, a couple scored, then they scored, and like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was like, it wasn't really until like the game was pretty much till we got like A-Chan to get them two last runs. I still was like, you never know. Still, like they might lose. Now, I was like, this is. I wasn't even expecting like this to me is sort of the team that I'm like, okay, where was this the whole year? I'm saying it didn't have to be every game, but just some glimpses of the game. Like, don't get me wrong, Tua still threw up two interceptions. That was kind of like, okay, but I will say one of them. I was like, the last, the second one, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. It's basically a punt, but at the same time, you got some momentum, and we got the score, and it does seem like great. This will be the thing that gives the Bills a chance in order to come back. You know, especially because it's like he's double team, and it ain't like you're throwing over here to receivers. Like it's not like it's somebody open like Tyreek Hill, how he was like hella open, and it's nobody with like some crazy sides. You're just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna throw it to my guy, some 50-50 ish kind of ball. Nope, not that. I was like, not at all. Now, I was like, Josh Allen. I was like, pretty much was pretty contained. I was like, outside. I want to say really for Josh Allen type plays. Kincaid did eat. I was like, Shakir did a bit, but and I was like, hey, maybe it said more about the Buffalo Bills offense than it does about the Miami Dolphins defense. But that's what really I was like, and maybe because they traded away Jalen Phillips, they was like, yo, we have to show out in a certain type of way. But they certainly did. I was like, they were able to pretty much lock all those lock all the receivers down. I was like, they was getting Josh Allen's ass. I was like, they were getting sacked. I was like, whether it was Chubb or I like the hit by Ziegler, where Josh Allen like he about to do Josh Allen thing, then pop got him. I was like, oh. This has been the best feeling of the year. It doesn't take away from the year. It doesn't take away from any of the other stuff, but it feels good because it was them. It was Buffalo. It was Josh Allen taking them down. Where they gotta go? Nowhere. Cause that's why. I was like A-Chan. Of course, like I said, he's the main dude on the offense. But I was like Waddle. I was like that pad where he was basically getting the pass interference over him, touchdown. Hey, that's why I was saying. That's why I was still like to trade him because I was like, or whatever, depending on what was there. I was like, after Tua was over here being talked about, is he going to have a job? And so I was like, can you get off of his contract? Is he washed? I heard from some. He was like, listen, at least for the day, I'm all right. Cause I was like, I don't like his other interceptions. Which don't get me wrong, you felt it even with these because he just keeps having games with like multiple interceptions. But this one, it didn't seem like a kill to the offense. It didn't seem like a kill to the game. It didn't feel like it was more like like Josh Allen, what they gonna do more than here we go for another game again. Like they were actually moving on offense, and I was like, I can see how that can be like a mood killer. But the way the offense was moving felt a lot better than it has been I was like at several weeks. I was like, I still sometimes feel like I was like that dude Washington. I'm like, he's came to play in the absence of Hill. I was surprised like Westbrook Akine and Cedric Wilson, who we have. I was like the bigger receivers aren't either in the plays or being used or whatever. Um, I was like, I still would like them to be used more. Especially the fact that how Tua. I was like, look. I think the thing is with Washington and Waddle is them being like the fast, shifty. Even though they're short receivers, I think they got the timing differently than with Westbrook and Wilson, who are like, I'm like Wilson's fast, but on the big side, I was like, it seemed like whatever from like when we first got him, it ain't. I was like, I know he's been injured a good amount this year, but it just ain't there how it was the previous year, even in some moments. But maybe because they're just too big to do a lot of those timing routes or whatever. But the defense, I was like Jordan Brooks. I was like, first of all, I was like leading in tackles the way he is. I kind of think it's in the NFL crazy. But the defense, I was like the aggressiveness, the whole thing. To me, I was like, just play like that anyhow, like all the other time. It doesn't have to just be getting up for Josh Allen. You just don't have to do that. You get what I'm saying? So, hey, we did it. We did it. And that's all. I was like, look, season can still be in the poo poo. But I'm willing to take it. I was like, we kicked our GM to the curb. McDaniels is here. I was like, to me, you just blame with house money. What? I was like, the GM gets canned. You pretty much know you're gonna get canned. What? I was like, what? I was like, what does that do except for to go out there and just play? You know, and the team and the way the team was playing as well too. I was like, obviously, I was like, well, not obviously, but it seemed like they're a little bit more like in McDaniel's. I was like, I don't think that's enough to necessarily bring him back next year. I think it'll be sort of a wrap. I was like, the only way I was like, because I was like, you just can't after this year. I was like, you're gonna have to me, you're gonna have to really bring back Tua, but I was like, and that's really only a discussion if you do a certain kind of trade. But that's not what we're talking about here. But other than that, for right now, ride them high. Anyway, it just feels good to be Josh Allen. That's what I'll take.